It was a shape that symbolized life, but some impulse had made the Egyptians choose that shape for a tomb, the tomb of their king. "60 years later, in 2480 BC, the same impulse had brought the new king, Khufu, out to the desert with a carefully chosen retinue. He was here to witness the first and most important ceremony of his entire reign. Contrary to some recent theories, the pyramids weren't built by people from outer space, but they were built by people obsessed with outer space. The Egyptians measured everything by the stars, their calendar, the Nile's flood, and they did so by noticing that the stars all moved. Everything in the night sky was in motion, everything but for one dark, still point. Round that dark, still point, two especially bright stars turned in a constant circle. When one star was directly above the other, a plumb line could be held up against them. It now passed through the dark, still point with perfect accuracy. The single most important act in the building of the Great Pyramid had taken place before a stone of it was laid. But of this, Nakht and his fellow builders knew nothing.
Seeing the stone steps had made me feel that we were nearing our destination, and suddenly the river was busy. There were boats loaded with everything you can imagine. Cattle, goats, pots, produce, timber, stone, so much. More than any person could use in a lifetime.
After 11 days drifting north on the Nile current, Nakht would have been a matter of hours from his journey's end. Giza. Today a busy suburb 10 miles to the south of Cairo, it was then a loose, rapidly growing settlement on the river's west bank. There would have been boatloads of conscripts arriving there every day. In a room at his Giza palace, Khufu's architects had long been planning to build the perfect pyramid. One that would dwarf all pyramids that had gone before or were to come after it. One that would remain the tallest structure on Earth until the Eiffel Tower was built in 1889. But first, they had to go back to basics. The plan was to build upward from a level base, gradually laying more than 200 horizontal courses of limestone blocks on top of one another, each course a little smaller than the last. The theory was simple. Putting it into practice must have seemed almost impossible. Preparations had begun in the first year of Khufu's reign. On the Giza plateau high above, the site had been leveled and swept. Then specialist masons had laid out the pyramid base, a perfect square of finished limestone blocks. Within that square was a natural limestone outcrop, which other masons had already cut into regular steps to form the pyramid core. The greatest of all building projects was ready to begin. All that was needed were the builders.
None of us were singing now. We were close and we could sense it. Karim R told us that we had grown soft on the journey and that we would have to become hard now to survive in the service of the king. Late that morning, we arrived at Giza. I didn't understand what I was seeing. How could I? We left the river behind us and started to climb to the desert plateau above. I was uneasy. The desert was where the sun died each night. We all knew the stories of the ghosts that haunted it. We'd been told there was a place for us up on the plateau near the end of a row of huts. No one took any notice of us. It turned out we had to share a reed mat on the ground. We didn't know what we were supposed to do or what would happen next. That day, there was one last thing that amazed me. I'll never forget it. Everyone around us was eating. Fruit, bread, beer, you name it. And all brought to them. At home, everything we ate we caught or grew ourselves. Otherwise, we went hungry. But here, if you worked, you got everything you wanted. Even the firewood in the evening. We had traveled 11 days and 11 nights to get to Giza. But my real journey was just beginning. In the morning, we were roused just after sunrise. It was obvious we were going to have to earn our keep. I thought that Giza could hold no more surprises. I was wrong. The thing I remember most clearly was the noise. We were put to work at once.